Billionaire Sheikh picks mud-covered girl for a job. But what she discovers changes everything. Amira was just 15 when she first felt the searing heat of a desert sun against her back, where she spent her days helping her family. Now 23, she still bore the scars of their struggle, her hands calloused and her clothes faded and patched. Despite the dirt smudging her cheeks, her vibrant spirit shone through. Her laughter was bright, and her ambition even brighter. Look, there's the Noon Palace. Her vibrant blooms, filling the air with sweet jasmine scents. But for Amira, it was a world apart, a symbol of wealth she could barely comprehend. Suddenly, a sleek black car screeched to a halt beside her. Heart racing, Amira turned to see the vehicle's tinted window slide down. "You there! Yes, you!" A man's commanding voice beckoned, his accent crisp and sharp. She stepped closer, clutching her brother's hand tightly. Emerging from the car was a figure cloaked in luxurious fabrics, a billionaire sheikh whose reputation for grandeur preceded him. His piercing gaze fell on Amira, and yet in that moment, dirt-covered and worn, she felt unseen. "I need someone reliable for a job. Do you want it?" he asked, his tone devoid of pleasantries. "What kind of job?" Amira's voice trembled, curiosity battling disbelief. The sheikh leaned closer, his fragrance of oud and sandalwood enveloping her senses. "Not far from here. It's different," he replied, his eyes narrowing slightly in contemplation. "I can offer you a chance, a way out." Amira stood frozen, the noise of the bustling city fading into the background. Her heart raced with possibilities and doubts. "You should take it, Amira." "How can you say no?" her brother urged, wide-eyed. But the offer smelled of risk, something she couldn't afford to overlook. "I need to think," she whispered, her thoughts spiraling as the reality of her family's struggles flooded her mind. The sheikh's gaze shifted, a flicker of impatience crossing his features. "Time is of the essence. I can't wait forever," he warned, before retreating back inside his car. The engine roared to life. As the vehicle drove away, Amira's heart sank. The opportunities in front of her shimmered like stars, yet the only thing she felt was the weight of her circumstances. What would this job entail? What was she willing to sacrifice? Murmurs from bystanders filled her ears. "Can you believe it? A job with the sheikh?" one lady exclaimed, excitement mingling with envy. Yet, as she stood there, mud still clinging to her clothes, Amira knew little of the churning tides beneath the surface of that gilded life. "You have to decide," her brother whispered, eyes pleading. Just then her phone buzzed fiercely against her thigh. It was a text from an unknown number. "I know what he's hiding. You need to meet me." Cold shivers ran down her spine, her heart thundering anew. Was this her ticket to freedom, or a warning of something far darker? "Hey, before we dive back into this amazing story, I've got an important warning. Lots of subscribers told me YouTube removed their subscription without notice. Take a second to check the red button below and make sure you're still subscribed. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming up. And while you're there, smash that powerful like button. It really helps with the algorithm. Let me know in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love meeting every awesome person in this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Amira's heart raced. She stared at her phone, the message echoing in her mind. I know what he's hiding. Cold sweat trickled down her back. Who was this person? Why did they know something about the sheikh? Who's it from? Her brother asked, peering over her shoulder with wide eyes. I don't know. Just some unknown number. She tried to keep her voice steady, but it trembled anyway. Her brother frowned. Should you reply? Amira bit her lip. Should she? The entire city felt like it was closing in. The busy streets, the palace in the distance. It all felt surreal. But this was her chance. A job with the Billionaire Sheikh could change everything. Yet, what if it was a trap? Before she could decide, her phone buzzed again. A new message flashed across the screen. Meet me at the old fountain near the market. Alone. Fear shot through her. Alone? The lump in her throat tightened. She glanced back toward the palace. Was this really about a job? Or was there something darker at play? Amira, please don't go, her brother pleaded, gripping her arm. What if it's dangerous? She took a deep breath. I need to know. I can't ignore it. Her heart thudded in her chest, drowning out the sounds of laughter and chatter around them. I'll go with you, he insisted. Fierce determination, piercing the worry etched on his face. No! The word came out sharper than she intended. I have to do this myself. He stepped back, eyes wide. Frustration sparked in her chest. Look, you don't understand. This could be everything we need. I can't keep living like this. Her brother's gaze fell. She felt the weight of her words. She knew he just wanted to protect her. Just stay close, she whispered, a small flicker of hope igniting. But as the excitement coursed through her, dread trailed close behind. The market bustled with life as she walked, her heart pounding, matching the thrum of voices. Around her, street vendors shouted, enticing passers-by with their colorful trinkets and fragrant food. Yet, she felt like she was in another world, detached from it all. Finally, she reached the fountain, water trickling gently over weathered stones. It felt old and ancient, grounded in time. Her eyes scanned the area. Where are you? She murmured. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows. Suddenly, a figure stepped out from behind the fountain. Amira's breath caught in her throat. It was a woman, her face hidden beneath a scarf, but the glint in her eyes was sharp. You came, the woman said. Her voice was low, urgent. Who are you? Amira asked, wary. Someone who knows the truth about the sheikh. Woman replied, stepping closer. What he wants from you, it's not what you think. Alarm bells rang in her head. What do you mean? The woman leaned in, her voice a crisp whisper. He's not just a billionaire. He's part of something much bigger, something dangerous. Amira's pulse quickened. What do you mean? Suddenly, the woman's phone beeped violently. She glanced at it, eyes wide. There's no time. He's coming. What? Panic rose. Before she could react, the woman grabbed her arm. You need to run! But then, a familiar voice called from behind. Amira! It was the sheikh, His imposing figure loomed in the fading light. Fear froze her. She wanted to flee, but she felt paralyzed. The woman's grip tightened. "Please, trust me. We need to go." Amira's mind raced. Trust the stranger or face the man who offered her a way out? Time slowed as she stood at the crossroads. Then, everything changed. A loud crash echoed in the market. A nearby stall toppled over. Chaos erupted. Shouts rang out, and in that moment, all eyes turned toward the fountain. Amira gasped as the world spun around her. What was happening? The shocking realization hit her. There was no path forward that didn't lead into darkness. Everything she thought she knew was about to unravel. Amira stood frozen, her heart pounding in her chest as chaos erupted around her. The loud crash of the stall knocked her from her. Thoughts, screams and shouts filled the air like fireworks, bursting with panic. People rushed past her, desperate to escape. "What's happening?" Amira gasped, her eyes darting between the woman and the approaching figure of the sheikh. "Trust me," the woman urged, her grip unyielding on Amira's arm. But Amira's gaze was locked onto the sheikh. He was powerful, intimidating, and now his expression was unreadable. She could feel her pulse in her throat, a tightness choking her words. "Run!" the woman whispered, and in that moment, it felt like they were the only two still, the world moving around them. Amira hesitated. A scream pierced the air. It jolted her. She took a step back, but something stopped her. A glint of metal caught her eye. She looked down, and there it was, a knife glinting under the fountain's dim lights, half buried in the shallow puddle. Amira's stomach turned. "What do you know?" she dared to ask the woman, feeling shaky. The woman's face tightened. "You have to listen to me. They're after him." "Who? Who's after him?" Amira pressed, her voice barely above a whisper. "Family," the woman shot back, her eyes wide. "He's not just a billionaire sheikh. He comes from a bloodline stained with secrets. Betrayal." The world tilted. Amira couldn't grasp it. The sheikh? Betrayal? A figure of power wasn't supposed to have a history tied to deceit. Suddenly, the crowd surged. Amira stumbled as bodies brushed past her. She needed to escape, to breathe. She looked at the fountain, where the knife lay like an accusation. "He's dangerous," the woman hissed. "He's lying to you about the job, about everything." Amira's mind raced. "Why would you care?" "Because." The woman paused, glancing back. "Because I was part of his world. I'm his sister." The revelation hit hard, like a punch. Amira could hardly breathe. The sheikh had a sister? She felt the weight of betrayal shift. Why was this woman warning her, if they were family? A loud voice rang out, cutting through the noise. "Amira!" the sheikh bellowed, stepping closer. He looked furious, and in that fury there was something darker, something deep and primal. "Run!" the woman cried again, shoving Amira toward the alleyway. Amira's feet moved, heart racing in time with her thoughts. She was torn between fleeing with this stranger or facing the man who promised her a way out. "Don't trust her!" the sheikh shouted, voice booming like thunder. Amira glanced back. The woman's face twisted in anguish, eyes pleading for trust. "It's not safe." With a deep breath, Amira turned and ran. The alleys loomed ahead, shadowed and empty. Suddenly, she felt a hand grip her shoulder, yanking her back. She spun, ready to fight, but froze. It was the Sheikh. His gaze held hers. Anger, desperation, mixed in perfect chaos. "You shouldn't have come here," he growled, dark eyes locking onto hers like chains. "What do you want?" she shouted back, heart crashing against her ribcage. "To protect you," he exclaimed, but she sensed something deeper, something hidden. And then the unexpected happened. The air crackled with tension as the woman stepped closer, weapon drawn from nowhere, pointing it at the Sheikh. "You're not leaving with her, this time." Stunned silence fell. Amira's breath hitched. She was caught in a lie, and everything she thought she knew was unraveling. "Family always protects," the woman said, voice unwavering. "Put it down," the Sheikh commanded, but his voice betrayed vulnerability. Amira stood between two worlds, love and danger, truth and deceit. And then the sirens blared in the distance, closing in. She was trapped. Before she could decide, the chaos blurred once again, and everything exploded into uncertainty. What was she supposed to do now? Amira felt her heart racing as the friction between the figures grew. The Sheikh stood towering, the tension in his posture palpable. He looked furious, his eyes dark and stormy. But behind that fury, she sensed fear, fear of losing her. "Get away from her!" the woman shouted, voice fierce yet scared. But Amira's mind was a whirlwind. Family? Lies? The truth twisted around her like smoke, choking her. "Why?" she croaked, looking between them. "Why are you doing this?" The sirens echoed closer, slicing through the chaos. The crowd was parting, eyes widening in horror and anticipation. Suddenly the woman stepped back, her gun wavering. "You don't know who he is," she gasped. "He's not who you think." "What do you mean?" Amira pressed, a lump thick in her throat. "Tell me!" "Amira, stay away from her!" the Sheikh shouted again, panic now in his voice. But she felt pulled to the woman's urgent glare. "He's using you. It's all a ruse." "Stop, you're lying," the Sheikh's voice thundered. "No, listen to me," the woman continued, desperate. "He wants to manipulate you. You're just a pawn in his game." Amira felt her chest tighten. What game? What's happening? And in that moment, everything changed. The woman's eyes filled with pain as she whispered, "I'm not just his sister. I'm the one he abandoned, the one you're meant to replace." The air shattered with her words. Replace? Amira's heart dropped. Every moment they shared now felt tainted. "What are you saying?" Amira faltered, shaken. Then it hit her. The Sheikh's offer, the allure of the world he promised, it was wrapped in a darker truth. "Amira, don't believe her," he yelled. But the urgency in his voice felt more like desperation now. Tears threatened to spill as she looked at him. You did this?" "I wanted to help you," he blurted, anger sparking in his eyes. "I thought I could give you a better life." "And what about her?" Amira pointed at the woman, speechless now. The Sheikh's expression hardened, and Amira noticed the tension between the two siblings. She didn't know who to trust. In the chaos, another figure emerged from the tumult, a man in a dark suit, shadowed and sharp. "Sheikh, we need to go now! Leave us!" the Sheikh snapped. But the man pressed forward, his urgency undeniable. "Now!" the man insisted, eyes flicking to the crowd. "This isn't safe." The woman stepped closer to Amira, her eyes wide. "You don't understand. He's tied to dangerous people. They'll stop at nothing to keep their secrets." The sirens blared louder, and panic flared in Amira's chest. "I need the truth!" she shouted, her voice cracking. "Amira, trust me," the woman begged, tears pooling in her eyes. Another crash echoed nearby, sending the crowd into further panic. They pushed against her, forcing her toward the edge of the plaza. "Go!" the Sheikh roared, stepping closer, the fury returning. "Run! Get out of here!" And then, time slowed. The world around Amira blurred. She was caught, split between two lives, two truths. The chaos closed in. She noticed two men drawing closer, familiar faces from the Sheikh's past, eyes cold and calculating. "Amira," one of them called, sinister glee in his tone. "So nice to see you." A wave of nausea crashed over her. The Sheikh's life, the kingdom of secrets, lies, and betrayal, was shattering before her. "Run!" the woman yelled, shoving Amira hard, sending her stumbling. And in that moment, everything spiraled. Confusion and fear wrapped around her as she turned one last time to the Sheikh. He stood there, eyes wild, caught between worlds. But now she saw it. A flicker in his eyes. Was it guilt? As Amira dashed into the alley, the sound of the pursuing crowd thundered behind her. She was on the run, lost in a storm of shadows and uncertainty. Everything she thought she knew was in ruins. Would she find the truth? Or was she running straight into darkness? Amira stumbled down the narrow alley, her breath coming in sharp gasps. The sounds of chaos faded into distant echoes. Her heart raced like a drum in her ears. She could still see the Sheikh's frantic expression, his desperation a haunting shadow in her mind. Just as she turned a corner, her phone buzzed again. She pulled it out, hands trembling. It was another message from that unknown number. "They're coming for you. Find a safe place, fast." The panic surged up her spine. Who was this person? Could they be trusted? Or was it just another trap? "Amira, wait!" a voice called from behind. It was her brother, sprinting after her. Relief flooded her for a split second. Then dread followed like a dark cloud. "You shouldn't have come after me," she gasped. "What was I supposed to do? Leave you to the wolves?" he replied, frantically catching up. Their eyes met, and she saw the worry etched in his face. "It's not safe," she insisted. But before she could explain, the ground below shook. A loud crash echoed. A truck barreled down the street, veering erratically toward them. The air filled with dust and the smell of burning rubber. "Run!" she yelled, pulling him toward a narrow entrance to a side street. They ducked just in time as the truck passed, spraying debris. Amira's heart pounded. It felt like a nightmare, and she was trapped in it. Whispers laced with fear floated around them from nearby windows. "Did you see that?" someone muttered. "They're after her." "Who?" Amira whispered back, as sweat trickled down her back. She felt the weight of eyes on her, judging her, wanting her to vanish. "Please, Amira, we need to keep moving," her brother urged. But she hesitated. "What if they know where we are?" Just then her phone buzzed again. She looked down, and her heart dropped. "Meet me at the old souk. This is your only chance. Go." Her brother was pulling at her. "You need to get out of here." "Who is this?" Amira's voice wobbled. "What if it's a trap?" But the urgency in his eyes spurred her on. "We can't stay here." They hurried toward the souk, the streets narrowing and twisting. Vendors shouted. Colorful fabrics swirled among ancient stone. But she barely noticed. All she could think of was the danger lurking behind them. They reached the souk, but it was empty, eerily silent. "Where is everyone?" Amira whispered, unease creeping over her like a cold fog. "Amira!" A voice cut through the quiet. It was the woman, the Sheikh's sister. The glint in her eyes was fierce. "You came. Good. What do you want?" Amira shot back, darting her gaze around for the Sheikh, for help, anything. The woman's face hardened. "You need to know the truth. He's not the man you think. He's been playing you." "What?" Amira's stomach twisted like a knot. "He's involved in something huge, dangerous." The woman stepped closer, intensity burning in her gaze. "And you're in the middle of it. He doesn't care about you. Stop!" Amira felt her chest tightening, fear and confusion swirling. "I don't believe you. It's true. He thought you would fall right into his plans." The woman shouted, desperation spilling out. "Don't you see it?" But before Amira could respond, the tension snapped. "Enough!" The Sheikh's voice boomed, echoing across the stones. He emerged from the shadows, his expression dark, almost feral. "Let her go!" "Stay back!" the woman warned, panic skimming her words. "She doesn't belong in your world." Suddenly a loud bang echoed as the crowd began to stir. People began to rush towards them, some wary, some curious. "Amira!" The Sheikh's eyes burned with a fiery intensity. "You're in danger. This isn't where you belong." Amira felt trapped again, caught in two worlds that were unraveling before her. "But what does that mean?" she cried, tears filling her eyes as she fought against the fear rising in her throat. "Leave with me," the Sheikh urged, reaching out toward her. "Why should I trust you?" she shouted, voice cracking. "You've lied to me." Before he could respond, another explosion rocked the souk. People screamed, dropping their goods as the chaos erupted. She fell backward, her brother barely catching her. "Run!" he yelled. But Amira's gaze was locked onto the Sheikh. Something shifted behind him, a shadow darting among the market stalls. She squinted, heart racing. "What's going on? What just exploded?" "Amira!" His voice was desperate, eyes wide with fear. And then she saw it. Figures emerging from the smoke, dark suits advancing like wolves on a hunt. Amira barely had time to process it before everything ignited into chaos again. The last thing she heard was her brother's voice, breaking through the screams. "Amira, we need to go now." The ground shook beneath her feet as she turned and ran, racing into a labyrinth of shadow and fear. But something deep inside her knew it was all just beginning. Amira felt her heart thudding like a drum as she and her brother sprinted through the chaos of the souk. The explosion's echoes reverberated against stone walls, mingling with terrified screams and panic. "Keep running," her brother yelled, his voice strained with fear. They turned another corner, weaving through stalls, spilling over with vibrant fabrics and spices. Amira could barely think. Her chest tightened with each hurried breath. The dark suits had to be close, too close. Her mind was a jumbled mess. Were those men connected to the Sheikh? Was her life in danger because of him? She glanced back, but all she could see was crowds scattering, fleeing from something unseen. Suddenly, her phone buzzed frantically in her pocket. She fumbled to pull it out. Another message blared on the screen. "They're coming for you. Trust no one. Meet me at the old warehouse." "Who is it?" he asked, panic flashing in his eyes. Someone who?" "Says they can help," she gasped, barely hearing her own voice over the chaos. But she wasn't sure who to trust anymore. "Amira, focus," her brother urged, pulling her back to the present. This was not the time for hesitation. "Where's that warehouse?" "Just a little farther," she yelled. Pushing through another narrow alley, Amira's thoughts were filled with images of the Sheikh. Could he really be a threat? He had seemed genuine, ready to help, but doubt gnawed at her. What if everything was a lie? Just then, the sound of heavy footsteps echoed behind them. Adrenaline kicked in. They had to move, now. They raced through the winding pathways, and her brother suddenly stopped. "We need to hide." Panic washed over her. "Where?" "Anywhere." He pulled her into a small nook beside a crumbling wall. They waited, breathless. Amira pressed against her brother, heart racing. She could feel the heat of fear pulsating through her veins. Then she heard them. A group of men, voices filled with malice. "She can't escape. Find her." Her breath hitched. They were searching for her. Those dark figures were dangerous. "Stay quiet," her brother whispered, eyes wide, scanning for their next move. Amira pressed her hands to her ears, trying to block out the noise. She thought of the Sheikh, how he had stood there, torn between two worlds. He had seemed like a lifeline. But now, suddenly, the alley brightened as lights flickered on. The men rounded a corner, their faces cold and determined. One of them stepped forward, gaze sweeping across the alley. "No escape," he bellowed. Amira's stomach lurched. Here they were, brought to the edge like prey. She could feel her brother's heartbeat next to hers, a rapid rhythm of fear. But then, something unexpected unfolded. The woman, the Sheikh's sister, appeared, her expression sharp and furious. "You're wasting your time. She's not here." The men hesitated, confused. "Get out of the way," one barked. "This is not your fight." "It is now," she shot back, stepping in front of Amira and her brother. "Leave her alone." Amira was stunned. Was she really stepping in for her? But before she could process it, the men advanced, dark shadows closing in. "Amira, run," her brother urged. But instead, Amira stood frozen, caught in a whirlwind of confusion. The sirens wailed louder in the vicinity, danger tightening around them like a noose. Back off, or you'll regret it, the woman threatened, her gaze steady. Amira's heart raced again, not just with fear, but with hope. Could this woman truly help her? What if she wasn't trying to harm her? But then she heard something. A low growl in the distance. Something dangerous and primal. And then a gunshot rang out, shattering the tense air. Amira turned, the world fading as she saw the woman stumble back, shock etched on her face. The color drained from her skin. "No!" Amira screamed, lunging forward. The brother's grip tightened around her waist. "Don't!" But it was too late. Everything around her fractured in a moment. The woman had fallen, and as she hit the ground, Amira felt something shift beneath her feet. The dark suits were closing in, and the world exploded into chaos again. There was no way out now. No more hope left. "Are you Zane's sister?" A voice echoed from the shadows, haunting and chilling. Amira's breath stopped. How did they know? Who was Zane? Then her brother whispered, "Amira, you need to run, now." But before she could move, another explosion rocked the area, sending debris flying everywhere. Everything went black, as dust settled around her. Her thoughts swirled like a tempest. What had just happened? The last thing she remembered was staring into the darkness, uncertainty crushing down like a heavy weight on her chest. In that moment, nothing was clear. The choice between danger and safety blurred into nothingness. Amira blinked through the dust, her heart still racing. The world around her was a blur. Shadows flickered, shapes darted in and out of focus. She fought through the panic rising in her chest. "Get up, Amira," her brother urged, gripping her arm, pulling her forward. They stumbled back, trying to escape the chaos. "We need to find shelter," he shouted over the rising cacophony. But something held her in place. The woman. She felt so close, yet so far. The pain in the air was suffocating. What had just happened? The fear clawed at her throat. "Now!" her brother insisted, and she obeyed, urgency driving her legs. They dashed around a corner, away from the chaos of the souk. The world narrowed to their hurried breaths, their frantic footsteps echoing off the stone walls. "Amira, you need to trust me," he said, eyes wide with panic. "Trust you? What just happened back there?" "Later," he snapped, pulling her into a dim alley. Their surroundings were silent, but tension hummed in the air. Amira pressed her back against the cool stone, trying to catch her breath. Suddenly, she heard footsteps approaching. A man appeared from the shadows, his face obscured. Amira's pulse quickened. Was he one of them? "Amira," the man shouted, and she froze. "Who are you?" her brother growled, stepping protectively in front of her. "It's me, Zane." Her heart dropped. Zane, the billionaire Sheikh's brother, the one they'd heard whispers about, mysterious, powerful. "Why are you here?" she managed, fear dripping from her words. "Because I need to warn you." Zane's gaze shifted anxiously. "They're coming for all of us." "What do you mean?" she gasped. "Your existence is a threat to everything." "What?" Amira couldn't process his words. "What do you mean?" He hesitated, eyes darting around. You were never just a job, Amira. You were meant to complete a legacy. Legacy? She shook her head, confusion flooding her mind. Zayn took a deep breath. You're the chosen heir. Her world tilted. Heir? What are you talking about? Then he continued. He needs you to inherit everything. There's a plan, a bigger plan, and it involves a union between families. Shock washed over her. What? She staggered back, her mind racing. He would use me like that? Yes, he's in too deep, Amira. You are the key to bringing balance back. But those seeking vengeance won't allow it. Vengeance? The word hung heavy in the air. Everything she thought she knew twisted into a dark maze. Her brother's hand tightened around her arm. He's lying. We can't trust him. No. Zayn stepped forward, desperation in his eyes. You have to believe me. The truth is darker than you think. If you don't escape, they will kill you. A shiver ran down her spine. Kill me? The weight of his words settled heavily in her chest. Everything was spiraling. Suddenly, they heard voices, moving closer. They're coming, her brother urged. Stick to me, Zayn insisted, pulling them further into the alley. Amira's heart raced. Trust was a fragile thing now. She felt trapped in a web of lies. Just then, Zayn turned sharply, eyes locking onto hers with fierce intensity. Amira, if you don't follow me, you could lose everything. I will protect you. Before she could respond, gunshots rang out down the alley. Run! Her brother yelled, fear pure in his voice. Zayn grabbed her hand, and they tore away from the danger, just as screams erupted behind them. Amira's mind raced. Was the Sheikh truly a danger, or was he being hunted just like her? As they sprinted deeper into the night, uncertainty clung to her like a shadow. And then, clearer than ever, she heard the chilling finality of Zayn's words echoing. You need to understand. There's a traitor among us. They dashed toward the unknown, and in the back of her mind, a terrifying thought flickered. Who could she trust when everyone was a potential enemy? Suddenly, a figure appeared at the alley's end, shrouded in darkness. Amira's heart sank. No, not now. Could it be the Sheikh? Or was the true danger standing closer than she thought? Amira froze, her breath catching in her throat. The shadowy figure stood at the alley's end, barely lit by the flickering street lamps above. Could it be the Sheikh? Or worse, someone else hunting her down? Zayn, get us out of here, she hissed, panic bubbling on her skin. But Zayn was staring, eyes wide in disbelief. The figure stepped into the light, and Amira's heart dropped. It was the Sheikh, not just him, but a woman beside him. Amira, he called, urgency tugging at his voice. She felt her pulse quicken. You need to listen. Stay back, Zayn shouted, moving in front of her. Zayn, let him talk, Amira cried, desperate. She tried to push her brother aside, the lump in her throat tightening. She needed answers. The Sheikh narrowed his eyes, desperate to reach her. This isn't what you think. I'm here to protect you. Protect me from what? She demanded. From you? No, he barked, voice raw with emotion. From the truth. The woman next to him stepped forward. Amira, she said slowly, tension lacing her words. You need to understand. This isn't just about you. What do you mean? Amira's head spun. Zayn and we're connected. More than just family ties. You're in the center of a storm that could tear everything apart, she said, looking straight at Zayn. Disbelief washed over Amira. Then she turned to Zayn. What's happening? We're tied to a legacy that runs deep, Amira. A legacy of power and betrayal, he said, fists clenched. But you're the key. Before she could respond, the ground shook again. Voices shouted from the mouth of the alley. They're coming, a man yelled. Run, the sheikh urged, grabbing Amira's hand. Zayn hesitated, pulling at her sleeve. No, trust me. If he's here, it's not safe. But fear propelled her forward. She didn't know whom to trust anymore. She sprinted after the sheikh, her brother at her heels. They rounded corners, weaving through tight streets. Just then, a deafening crash rang out, a shop window shattering nearby. Amira felt the blast of heat on her face, a wave of disbelief washing over her. They were all caught in a spiral of chaos. Keep moving, the sheikh shouted. Her mind reeled. She glanced back at Zayn, who looked torn. I don't want to lose you, he yelled after her, desperation cracking his voice. Suddenly, the woman's voice cut through the panic. Amira, listen carefully. Zayn and we share the same bloodline. But that's not all. We also share a dangerous secret. What? Amira breathed, the air thickening with tension. As they fled deeper into the night, the woman continued. You're connected to both of us. A bond forged in a past filled with betrayal. The sheikh, he needs you to complete a union that was intended long ago. A union forged from blood, but sealed by deception. The words hit Amira hard. What are you saying? She gasped. I don't understand. The woman looked straight into Amira's eyes. Your origins are far darker than you've been told. You're not just an innocent bystander in this chaos. A jolt shot through Amira. What do you mean? The chaos around them blurred. A small corner of her world was turning to ash. But just then, a thunderous noise erupted from behind. There they are! A voice boomed. Heavy footsteps echoed down the street. Go! The sheikh ordered, pulling Amira away. Zayn hesitated again, glancing back and forth. Amira! Suddenly, the truth hit her, hard as stone. Her heart dropped. Zayn, you knew all along? He stepped back, eyes filled with pain. I had to protect you from this. Protect me? She yelled, anger mixing with betrayal. What else are you hiding? The alley was closing in, shadows dancing at the edge of her vision. Everything felt suffocating. Trust us, the woman urged. It's the only way. A choice loomed large. Trust the sheikh or Zayn? The decision unraveled before her, when a scream pierced the night. A figure in a dark suit lunged towards them, and time snapped to chaos once again. And amid the swirling fear and escalating tension, Amira's world threatened to collapse under the weight of hidden truths. Amira, listen, the sheikh shouted as they dove for cover. But she couldn't think. The air was thick as shadows swirled around her. The biggest question pounded in her mind. Who was really at her side? And then everything exploded into darkness. Amira felt the ground shudder beneath her as the dark figure lunged. Time seemed to stretch. Fear gripped her, squeezing her chest tight. "No!" she gasped. She shot backward, her heart pounding like a war drum. "Get down!" Zane yelled, pushing her and her brother into the shadows of a nearby doorway. The world exploded into movement. She barely registered the sound of gunshots ringing out. They echoed like thunder, sharp and menacing. People shouted, scattering like leaves in a storm. The alleyway was chaos, filled with fear and confusion. "Amira!" She heard the Sheikh's voice, filled with urgency, but it felt like it was coming from a million miles away. "Stay close. Don't trust him," Zane snapped, eyes furious and scared. "He's leading you into danger." "But what if he's telling the truth?" Amira said, panic scrambling her thoughts. "What if he really wants to help?" "Enough!" The Sheikh's voice cut through the tumult. He stepped closer, jaw clenched, eyes blazing. "This isn't about us. It's about you, and you need to listen." Amira froze, torn. A gunshot rang. Out again. Closer this time. She felt her heart drop into her stomach. "What's going on?" she screamed over the noise. Suddenly, everything grew silent. The world shifted. A figure stepped forward, a familiar face emerging from the shadows with a sinister smile. "Hello, Amira," the woman said, her voice calm, like cool water. "Surprised to see me?" It was Amina, the Sheikh's estranged sister. "Amina?" Amira stumbled back. You're alive?" "Yes, dear sister." Amina's smile sharpened. "And I have a few things to tell you." Panic flooded Amira's veins. "What do you mean?" Amina stepped forward, her gaze flickering between Amira and Zane. "You've been misled. Everything you think you know, it's all a lie." Zane tensed beside Amira, ready to pounce. "What kind of lie?" he questioned, voice low and dangerous. "Zane, just trust me," Amina shot back, her eyes glinting with a fierce determination. "You're not who you think you are, Amira. None of us are." The world spun. "What?" Amira gasped, breathless. "What do you mean?" "We share blood, Amira." Amina's voice sliced through the air like glass. "You and I. You inherited too much power from our father. And the Sheikh, he's been scheming all along." A ground dropped from under Amira's feet. "This is insane," she cried. "You're lying." "No, I'm revealing the truth. You were never just a pawn. You're the rightful heir to a legacy filled with darkness." Her head swirled, thoughts blurring together. What legacy? What darkness? Amina stepped closer, eyes glittering with intensity. "The Sheikh wants to control you. He wants a weapon, not a partner. A union forged not in love, but in manipulation." "No!" Amira shouted, tears stinging her eyes. "That's not true!" Before anyone could respond, there was a deafening bang. A kitchen door behind them blasted open, sending metal shards flying. Amira shrieked as she ducked and tried to shield her brother. "Run!" the Sheikh yelled, grabbing Amira by the wrist. But Zane pulled at her other arm. "No, not him. He's lying. You have to listen to Amina." She felt herself splitting apart, caught between worlds. She glanced at the chaos swirling around them, her heart hammering. The air was charged, filled with a sick sense of betrayal. And then Amina revealed a dark glimmer in her hand, a knife, reflecting the dim light. "He has plans for you, Amira. Don't you see that? You must choose whose side you're on." Before she could comprehend, more footsteps approached, boots echoing ominously against the cobblestones. Shadows lengthened, looming over them. Time stopped. Amira's vision blurred. She felt the weight of their gazes pressing down, suffocating. A decision loomed, a devastating choice. But could she trust any of them? Or were they all playing a part in some twisted game? "Amira," the Sheikh's voice broke through. "Please, we don't have time." A sense of panic gripped her, and suddenly everything twisted into darkness. She couldn't see. She couldn't breathe. The chaos echoed around her. And then came the chilling realization. Not everyone was fighting for her. And the true danger could be standing right beside her. There was a heavy stillness in the air as Amira stood in the alley, her heart racing against uncertainty. Everyone around her had fallen silent. Zayn, his face contorted with confusion and fear, gripped her arm tightly. The Sheikh's eyes burned with desperation, reflecting a storm of emotions. Amina, the estranged sister, held the knife firmly in her hand, her voice steady. "This is bigger than any of us. We need to end this cycle. You may not want to be part of it, but you are." "Enough!" the Sheikh shouted, stepping forward. "I won't let this happen. We have to protect her from those who would use her." Amira felt torn. Questions washed over her like waves. But one stood out. Who could she trust? Suddenly, a voice cut through the tension, breaking like glass. "Stop right there!" A group of men in dark suits emerged, their expressions grim and determined. "Time is running out, Amira," Amina shouted, taking a defensive stance. "You have to choose now." Zayn stepped in front of Amira protectively, fists clenched. "You don't have to listen to them. We'll find a way out together." Just then, the air thickened with danger. "We don't have time for this," the Sheikh urged, frustration pouring out. "They're coming." In that moment, fear collided with something else. Resolve. Amira felt a surge of power within her. "Enough!" she screamed. "I want the truth. All of it." The world held its breath. Amina steadied her voice. "You were born into a legacy that demanded sacrifice. Your path is entwined with ours, Amira, whether you like it or not." She felt the weight of her words burrow deep into her heart. "And what does that mean for me?" "It means you have the strength to break it," Amina replied, eyes fierce. "To forge your own path, but you have to face it first." Amira took a steadying breath. "And what if I choose differently?" "Then you risk losing your life and everyone you care about," the Sheikh said, voice tense as he faced the approaching danger. "I can protect you, Amira, but you need to trust me." "Trust you?" she shot back, eyes blazing. "You've kept secrets, and now I'm supposed to follow blindly?" "Amira, please." Zayn's voice trembled, both pleading and fierce. "We can take control of this, together." As the footsteps grew louder, something shifted in Amira. She gathered her courage, summoning the spirit that had always dwelled within her. I refuse to be anyone's pawn, she declared, her voice ringing clear. I'll choose my own destiny. Chaos erupted. The dark figures rushed forward, drawn by the magnetism of Amira's defiance. Without thinking, she grabbed Amina's knife. In a single, fluid motion, she stepped sideways, putting herself between her brother and the oncoming threats. Run, she yelled to Zayn. Get to safety. Another round of gunfire erupted, but Amira felt something crack within her. This was her moment. She had the power to break free. The scene turned chaotic, the dark suits rushing forward. Zayn hesitated briefly, his eyes filled with worry. But he nodded, dashing down the alley. The Sheikh stood firm beside her. This is it, Amira. He extended his arm, as if inviting her to join him, to face the storm together. Time seemed to slow as the shadows drew near, their intentions clear. But in the depths of her heart, she felt the strength of truth. I won't let them take what's mine, she vowed aloud. Then fight with me, the Sheikh urged, a spark igniting in his eyes. And together, they charged forward, facing the darkness that surrounded them, empowered by the connections forged in fear and truth. When the dust finally settled, Amira stood with the remnants of chaos around her. The shadows had receded, but the journey was far from over. As she glanced back at Zayn and the Sheikh, they stood at the precipice of a new beginning, each of them scarred yet unyielding. This isn't just about bloodlines or legacies anymore, she said. It's about who we choose to be. The three of them formed a reluctant alliance, ready to confront whatever may come next. But even in their resolve, an unanswered question lingered. Was this the end of one nightmare, or the beginning of another? You must subscribe right now. Don't wait another second to make sure you don't miss the next exclusive stories. We have jaw-dropping plots coming your way. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and share your support. Flood the comments with your reactions, theories, and thoughts about this thrilling finale. Forget to share right away with 5 friends who need to see this epic conclusion. Only true fans understand how vital these actions are.